Have you ever had interactions with other people that didn't quite go as you wanted them to? I have a feeling you probably have. Why does this happen? And why are so many people left feeling frustrated and disappointed after these types of interactions? We all know that we need to communicate better. Yet, somehow, even though we know this in our minds, it still remains elusive. Here's what it all comes down to: emotional intelligence. What does it actually mean? Emotional intelligence is when we have an awareness and an understanding not only of our own emotions, but of emotions of other people as well. When we can pause and be present to what we're feeling before we react, it gives us an opportunity to be conscious and choose what we're going to say, how we're going to say it, and ultimately what the outcomes are going to be. When we can listen to what other people are saying, really trying to understand and hear them, not planning our response while they're still talking, but getting where they're coming from, getting their emotions, not necessarily agreeing, and not necessarily even thinking you would feel the same way, validating what they're feeling and having them leave the conversation feeling gotten and heard. It makes a world of difference. When we don't have emotional intelligence, when we're not aware of our own feelings or having any say or control over them, or when we don't have the ability to really get and understand and listen to other people, we end up with a lot of conflict, misunderstandings, frustration. At work, we might see it as low productivity and high turnover. And at home, we can find ourselves with frustrating relationships, not getting along with our partner, maybe feeling disconnected from our children, and finding that for some reason, our friends just are not as enjoyable as they used to be. What does emotional intelligence actually look like? For starters, it's about awareness, being aware of our feelings, of our responses, what we're saying, how it's occurring for other people, and on the flip side, what someone else is saying, what they might be feeling, and being open to the fact that whatever we think about that might be wrong, and having a willingness to see both sides of the situation. It can look like self-regulation, which is having a momentary pause before we react, before we respond, so that we can consider, what outcome do I want here? What do I want this conversation or this situation to end up as? And what way of responding is most likely to get me there? It looks like having empathy, putting yourself in someone else's shoes, not rushing to judgment, but saying, I wonder what could be going on for them. I wonder why they're in a bad mood today. I wonder why they're saying what they're saying. I wonder what's making them so frustrated. Coming at situations with curiosity instead of judgment, that alone is a game changer and will start to positively impact all of your interactions. And emotional intelligence can look like having really good social skills, connecting with other people. When other people feel gotten and heard when they're in our presence, and they feel like they get and hear us because we're honest and authentic and true, it builds connection. People want to be around us. People trust us. And whether professional or personal, long-standing great relationships are formed. So what do you do about it? It's really great to hear about these wonderful concepts, but they're not always so easy to implement. Well, as I said before, it starts with awareness and finding ways to cultivate that in yourself. It can be tricky on your own. There are many ways to do it, one of which is working with a coach such as myself. What I specifically do is I work with my clients to help them cultivate the awareness needed so that they, in a moment, have a choice about how they show up, how they perceive, how they interact, how they impact other people, ultimately, all of which leads to their outcomes. You can also start to practice little tiny baby steps. None of this is about flipping a switch and all of a sudden having a high level of emotional intelligence and transforming all of your conversations in a single moment. No, it's about baby steps. Just trying little tiny bits at a time and starting to notice the difference that it makes. You might be 95% the way through a conversation when all of a sudden you notice it's not going well. Just try one little bit of pausing, responding consciously, acknowledging the other person. You might see in a moment the conversation go from here to here in a much more productive manner. And lastly, like with everything in life, it's taking full responsibility for yourself and for your life. It does not mean everything's your fault, but you have the power to create what you want. You have the power to start to shift how you show up, how your interactions go, and what your results are. The moment that we stop blaming and complaining and giving away all of our power to other people is the moment that all of this starts to become doable for you. Possibilities expand and everything starts to change. Try it on. Let me know how it goes. I promise you, if you cultivate emotional intelligence, you start shifting how you interact with other people, you will have far fewer of those frustrating conversations.